This is Trade Flow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. Trade Flow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
Welcome back to Trade Flow TV. You know the drill. Markets move fast, and if you're not ahead, you're under. It is Friday, July 24th, 2026, and we are closing out what can only be described as a historic week for the global commodities complex. The paper markets have completely surrendered to physical deficits. As we head into this dangerous weekend hold, the energy, metals, and agricultural sectors are independently flashing systemic warning signs. Let's get you caught up for the Friday finale. First up, the 60-second commodities flash. Brent tests $148 on shipping bailout fallout. The energy complex is actively weaponizing yesterday's $2.5 trillion logistics bailout. Brent crude is violently grinding toward 148.50 a barrel on the European Open. Refiners are hoarding spot cargoes, anticipating that the newly injected central bank liquidity will simply be used by freight companies to blindly outbid each other for the shrinking pool of available marine bunker fuel over the weekend. Meanwhile, copper enters an unobtainium breakout. LME copper is experiencing a violent illiquid melt-up, crossing the unprecedented $21,800 per ton mark. Following the tech hardware exodus we reported yesterday, major non-G7 copper producers have completely halted fresh export contracts to the West, redirecting all physical ore to the new BRICS Plus settlement ledgers. Silver OTC blows past $200. The two-tier metals market is absolute. While COMEX paper silver remains frozen under regulatory review, the over-the-counter physical market is seeing desperate Friday panic buying. Tier 1 AI and solar manufacturers are reportedly executing block trades for physical silver near $215.00 per ounce, desperate to secure their supply chains before the weekend. Finally, wheat hits limit up on global bans. The agricultural contagion is complete. Following the collapse of the domestic cold chain, 3 major South American agricultural powerhouses announced immediate, indefinite export bans on raw wheat and corn. Global grain futures are locked limit up, guaranteeing a massive structural wave of third-quarter agflation. Let us take a deep dive into why the combination of $148 Brent, $22,000 copper, and global agricultural export bans guarantees a stagflationary shock that central banks cannot fix. The data hitting global terminals this Friday morning proves that you cannot fix a broken physical supply chain by printing fiat currency. We are watching the complete breakdown of just-in-time logistics across all core commodity sectors. Here is what is driving the Friday tape. Look at energy and the infinite liquidity trap. If you are holding paper shorts in the energy market into this weekend, you are standing on the tracks. Historically, central bank bailouts create a brief relief rally in equities. In a commodity supercycle, they simply pour gasoline on the fire. When the G7 announced the $2.5 trillion global transit liquidity facility yesterday, they fundamentally misunderstood the energy market. They gave bankrupt shipping companies the fiat currency to buy fuel, but they did not print more oil. With Brent at $148.50, we are seeing absolute logistical inelasticity. This weekend, the massive fleets of rerouted maritime traffic will aggressively burn through the remaining localized bunker fuel supplies, guaranteeing a higher baseline price by Monday morning. This brings us to the tech-driven sovereign metal deficit. The metals desk is undergoing a geographic rewrite. The $21,800 price tag on LME copper and the $215 physical premium on silver are not speculative blow-offs. They are the mathematical cost of a severed global supply chain. When the G7 attempted to raid corporate vaults and mandate price caps on tech metals, they triggered an immediate embargo from the global south. The AI data center boom requires thousands of miles of heavy copper wiring and massive amounts of silver for thermal management. Because tech giants are actively migrating their infrastructure to neutral jurisdictions to avoid Western asset seizures, the physical metals are following them. If you hold physical copper or silver assets outside of the G7 today, you hold the ultimate geopolitical leverage. At the same time, look closer at the agricultural food protectionism shock. The soft commodities market has transitioned from an input cost crisis to a geopolitical standoff. The agricultural export bans announced overnight are the final nail in the coffin for global inflation targets. Because $148 crude oil makes manufacturing fertilizer and running agricultural diesel impossibly expensive, emerging market crop yields are plummeting. To prevent domestic food riots, governments are aggressively shutting their borders to grain exports. If you are a net importer country, your food security was just thrown into a blender. This guarantees that global consumer grocery prices will remain structurally elevated through the end of 2026. This completely paralyzes the Federal Reserve from executing any meaningful policy pivots. Here is the trade flow take. We are closing out a week that will be studied in macro textbooks for a decade. The transition from financial engineering to physical reality is complete. Do not try to catch the falling knife in consumer discretionary or retail grocery equities. Maintain your aggressive physical long exposure in the silver and copper nexus. Keep your energy portfolios heavily fortified and deploy capital into domestic agricultural input producers who are shielded from the global shipping collapse. Head over immediately to TradeFlow TV to keep your analytical pipeline fully synchronized with physical macro reality over this critical weekend break. Stay liquid, stay sharp, have a highly defensive weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.